My autopilot arrived today. I ordered 2 packages. One came from Denmark, and the other one from Germany. So yeah, the autopilot came from Denmark, and I had everything shipped to a Swedish guy here who's helping me with the boat. A lot, actually. So I unpacked everything, and now I'm trying to install it. It looks something like this. Here's the mechanism itself, which is supposed to turn this wheel right here. And now the challenge is figuring out how to fit it in here. For that, I'll probably drill a hole either here or here. Well, technically an opening, I guess. And right now I'm trying to understand if this is even possible, because there's barely any room, so I'm about to remove these 2 cables to maybe make it possible to squeeze in there. It's definitely going to be tight, but at least it's something. Honestly, I'd remove this wheel completely, but I'm not sure what's actually holding the rudder. It could just drop straight into the water. No idea if this thing is holding the rudder or not. So first, I'll try removing this cable and that one. And if there's enough space, I won't take anything else apart. One cable is already off, one more to go. All right, both cables are disconnected. Now I need to see if I can actually get in there. Let's see whether this works or not. If it doesn't, that's going to be bad, because I'll have to remove a lot more stuff. So, turns out, I don't fit in there. Now I need to think of another option that won't require taking everything apart. It's already getting dark. The problem is that the drive unit is just too big for the space available here. So now I have to figure out how to finish this and what other options I have, because I'm definitely not going to find another drive unit anywhere. I'll sleep on it tonight, and maybe tomorrow I'll come up with a new idea. Today I bought some fishing gear at the store, and I'm going to try catching something. Let it hang there. People here literally catch crabs with clothespins. So yeah, I looked it up, and apparently they catch them using meat. So tonight, I'm sharing these sausages with the crabs. Maybe something will come by and try to eat it. And I'll try fishing with some bread too. Maybe something will bite. I actually had corn before, but I ran out of it. Small shrimp would have been perfect, but I don't have any. All I've got is bread and these sausages. So this tiny piece is for the crabs, and this little piece of bread is for fishing. I even rubbed it with meat too. Maybe it'll work. Can't hurt, I guess. Here I've got 3 different floats with hooks, already rigged with weights and everything. Only cost €2, so that's great. And this rod too. It even comes with a clothespin for catching crabs. You clip some meat onto it, lower it down, and watch the bottom. The crab runs over and starts eating. Once it grabs on properly, you pull it up. Yesterday didn't go well at all. Problems with the autopilot install, and no luck fishing either. I tried fishing a little, but I was so tired by then that I just went to sleep. Today, I tried catching a crab again. And somehow the crab stole both the meat and the clothespin. While I was busy doing other stuff, he dragged the clothespin with the meat into his hole. And after that, I couldn't pull anything back out. neither him nor the clothespin. So now I've put on another clothespin, and I caught a crab. Look at this little guy. Pretty small though. But at least I'm not alone on the boat anymore. He's pretty tiny, so I'm letting him go. Cute little thing. I'm not eating him. I'll look for a bigger one. This one's too small. I needed to sleep on the autopilot problem for a night, and today I came up with an idea. I'm going to mount the drive unit right here. Time to start drilling. It'll just sit on top. There's really no other option because there's a wall here and another wall there, and the drive unit is too long. Yeah. This area used to be covered with little shelves where you could store stuff. Although people didn't really recommend it because something could fall in and jam the steering, but now it probably won't close anymore. Once I get back to Estonia, maybe I'll figure out a better setup for it. Today I also bought these bolts and washers, because for some reason the autopilot kit didn't include the mounting bolts for the drive unit, so I picked these ones. Ended up being around €8 for 3 of them. It's pretty heavy, so I had to come up with some kind of setup. To install it completely by myself, both hands are busy, so I needed a way for it to hang there somehow. Came up with this little trick. Another lucky guy heading back to freedom now. And one more brave little crab goes free. And this one's new. Maybe I'll eat him. He's got both claws.
Maybe there's actually something to eat on him.
We'll see. Now I'm trying to install the autopilot display, where you can change all the settings, heading degrees, and stuff like that. This boat used to have an old autopilot, but it basically stopped working, so I removed it. This was the old display. And there was already a hole here. There was a hole, but it's too small for the new display. Honestly, I don't really like this location for the autopilot screen. I would have mounted it closer to the helm, but the hole is already here, and there's not much I can do about it. I only have limited tools with me, so I'm gonna drill around the edge like this until it fits the right size. Alright, here's the hull now. I drilled out this side, and this part is from the old hole. And I drilled new mounting holes too. So now, the autopilot display is installed. Looks beautiful. Done. Now I just need to install 3 more autopilot modules and everything should work. This is basically one of them. Today's been a pretty tough day. Right now I'm replacing the sensors. I bought one sensor that handles everything: depth, temperature, and speed. So now I'm going to try installing it. The new one. Let's see if this works while the boat's still out of the water. So I cut out and pushed out the old sensor. Now I'm installing this socket, where the sensor can slide in and out whenever needed, and the socket stays permanently in place. This is what the hole looks like from underneath. I installed the socket, added silicone on both sides too. The instructions didn't mention it, but just in case. Can't hurt, I guess. I added silicone around the ring too. Now let's see how it turns out. And now we've got this brand new socket here. The sensor will stick out right here. This sensor right here will measure speed, temperature, and depth. People in Sweden ride bicycles to the bus stop and then continue by bus. And in the evening, they come back, hop on the bike again, and ride the rest of the way home. Interesting. Since there are basically no stores at all in Lerkil Marina. Nothing really here. There's just a bar and a tiny little shop inside the bar. But everything there is super expensive, so I go grocery shopping in this town instead. It's called Kungsbacka. And getting there isn't exactly easy because it takes around an hour to an hour and a half each way. And of course, the same coming back. So just the road alone takes 3 hours. Alright, today we're checking the new sensor. Is the socket leaking or not? Let's see if there's any water inside. No water. Everything's dry. So, yesterday's operation was a success. Now I'll continue fighting with this autopilot. Here's the drive unit itself. From Garmin. And it's actually pretty huge, bigger than I expected, and there's just no way to fit it in here properly. Look, at first it seems like maybe you could mount it somewhere here, but there are walls on both sides. So today I might cut part of one wall open a little to create some extra space for movement. Then maybe the drive unit will have room to move. The only possible place I've found is basically right here. Ideally, I'd mount it somewhere around here. Because this wall is thick, wood plus fiberglass behind it, and the bolts would go through into the storage locker behind it. So it should handle the load pretty well, but the position is quite high up. And here there's some kind of structural reinforcement. I definitely shouldn't touch that. There's one more option left, which honestly feels like the only realistic one now. That would be mounting it here. There's another external locker behind this wall, so hopefully it'll hold the load. Though ideally, I'd like to move it closer to the corner. We'll see once I measure everything. I already made this little opening in the wall here, kind of a technical access hatch. And now I need to make another one slightly more to the left, so the drive unit can move freely side to side whenever it needs to. And I've got one more piece of good news. Veronica missed me, so she's coming here. Most likely she'll arrive tomorrow already. So starting tomorrow, I won't be alone anymore. There'll be 2 of us here, and things should get a little easier. Docking will be easier. And doing all kinds of work, too. I won't have to stop everything just to make breakfast, lunch, or dinner for myself. Because sometimes you get so exhausted, you don't even care about lunch anymore. You somehow gather enough energy to cook dinner at like 11 p.m. or even midnight. And then you just go straight to sleep. But now it'll be easier. Finished the little access hatch. Now there's access to the steering wheel system. And I've got this thing left over. I think I'll use it to reinforce the area a bit and make it softer against the fiberglass. Some wood to help spread the load out a little. We'll see. Once we get home, I'll probably come up with a better and more reliable solution. Veronica arrived. Now things should get easier with breakfast and meals. I'm heading to meet her now. I won't be alone anymore. Someone arrived. Someone arrived. Who arrived?
That's enough. And I'm filming too. So I finally made it to Sweden to meet our girl.
Welcome aboard.
Oh wow, seriously? She's huge. Seriously, she's huge. This is her?
Yep, that's her.
No way. She's actually that big. She's seriously massive.
So, in the end, this is what I came up with. I made an opening for the drive unit and mounted it. The drive here, see? And since I had no idea, there was basically nowhere for the drive unit itself to brace against. So yesterday, I bought a board after spending the whole day searching for one in Sweden and mounted everything onto it. And honestly, it looks like it's going to work. We'll test it today. I mounted the drive unit right here. Secured it from one side and the other. At an angle. The power cable runs directly to the batteries. And this cable goes to the compass. I routed the cable through here as well. And the compass itself is inside that cabinet. That's also where we installed the display that faces into the cockpit and the sound alarm. Right now, I'm tying up all these wires so everything looks neat. And we also have the VMEG.AI network running through here. I routed it into this cabin, too. This is the starboard aft cabin. Now I just need to secure everything properly and hide all the wires. The autopilot is now calibrated and working. I added an extra support board and mounted this poor drive unit onto it, the one I've been fighting with, for probably 4 days. The main problem was that there were no stores nearby, so every time I came up with an idea, the whole day disappeared just trying to make it happen. And that's it for today. So yeah, installing the autopilot took a bit longer than expected, but now everything finally seems to work. Once we sail home, I'll reinforce this board properly, because honestly, I just grabbed whatever board I could find and cut out what I needed. But eventually, I'd like to replace it with something thicker and stronger so it lasts for years.